Here we are, everybody. Welcome back to the Grand Prix here for the Chinese Grand Prix at the Red Arrows Formula 1 League here for season 15, round 8 of this 14-round season. As we've just had the qualifying session, the one-shot quali for the Grand Prix, and we've got a bit of a surprise pole sitter. Looks like we've got Youngie, who's put it on P1 here, doing a phenomenal job. And he's put it ahead of the one of the championship contenders here, Brad, who, as we said before, tonight will be looking to try and maximise his points because his championship rival's not here tonight, and has already taken a big step to that with a P2 in the sprint race a few moments ago. But I'm sure that he will be desperate to not have to settle for second again in the Grand Prix. We've got Honey Badger, a newcomer to the Red Arrows F1 League here, in third place, doing a brilliant job there in that one-shot quali a few moments ago as well. Wasn't around for the first race of the night for the sprint race, but good to see he's jumped in for this one. We got Clen, who was running in a podium place for a lot of that sprint race a few moments ago, but unfortunately for him, had a bit of a capitulation in the last couple of laps, but hopefully he'll be able to hold himself to good account here in this sprint race. Pavlison completing the top 5, and the race winner from the sprint race a few moments ago, the Cucumber, who did a fantastic comeback drive, obviously the reigning champion from last season, a reserve for this season, and managed to win the sprint race a few moments ago with a phenomenal drive. Had heavy pressure from Brad for the entirety of it, but managed to withstand that pressure brilliantly. And can he repeat the feat here from P6 on the grid? He's got it against him. The odds are certainly stacked against him from P6, but we know that it's possible to win around here from 6th on the grid. One driver who stands out to me as won this race from P6 on the grid was actually Michael Schumacher in a Ferrari back in 2006. That was many years ago, and it was a wet race as well, but it did happen. But anyway, lining up on the grid here, we're moments away from the start of the Chinese Grand Prix here at the Red Arrows Formula 1 League. And we've got the pole sitter there, Youngie, the only driver to miss his grid spot. But here we are then. The excitement must be intense here for the pole sitter here for the start of the Chinese Grand Prix at the Red Arrows Formula 1 League. It is lights out, we're underway. Looks like Brad there got a very good start off of the line and has headed Youngie into turn 1, as so has Honey Badger here up the inside of the Sauber here into turn 1. There's their side by side. We can see there Pavlison there squeezing ahead of Clen around the outside up into 4th place. Although Clen's holding himself there 3 wide there as they went through the corner. The Cucumber was getting involved in it as well, as Onzi has made up a couple of places here. Angry Guns has dropped behind Jordan Hillier, and we see Sniper C's moved ahead of McCarthy up into 13th place. But as we come through the first few corners, we can see there Pavlison looking down the inside there of Youngie there as they went into the hairpin, and he makes that move there up into 3rd place. Youngie there losing out to Clen as a result of that as well. And Youngie down to 5th place here on this first lap. So the pole sitter here has gone backwards here in the opening few corners of this race. He's got back ahead of Clen here as he come through the next series of corners. Cucumber here looking to try and attack on Clen as well. Now Youngie's been passed around the outside there by Clen. Clen is still there, and he's managed to complete that move there on Youngie. So Youngie down to 5th place has now got the race winner from the sprint all over the back of him as well now. As we see the McLaren there of Angry Guns looking to the inside of Jordan down to the end of the little straight, but he's too far away and can't quite get that one done. Cucumber has now got Youngie up into 5th place. Youngie is well and truly on a bit of a knife's edge at the moment on the hard tyres. It is explainable, but he's got a load of cars around him who are on the medium and soft tyres, so it explains why he's dropped backwards so quickly. But he needs to just get his head together and just breathe, just take a deep breath and just go again here. As we see Jordan here moving ahead of Onzi up into 8th place. See a lock up there from the Aston Martin of Ritchie. As we see contact there between the Williams and the Sauber there of Ernie and Sniper C, and JC is able to take full advantage of that and move ahead of Sniper C up into 13th place. McCarthy's dropped down to the back on the opening lap, but Brad leading and is lagging like hell out the front at the moment. As we can see, we got Lycorius looking to the inside of Youngie into turn 1, just a little bit too far back. We've got Sniper C on the inside of JC moving there up into 13th place and has got that position back as they went through turn 1. But Brad out the front has got the lead over Honey Badger, almost a second now, but he is lagging like absolute crazy, and to be honest, the way that Brad's lagging around, I wouldn't be at all surprised if he disconnects. He's got a long way to go in this race. Hopefully his connection fixes before the end, because that's on borrowed time, that is, I tell you. But Honey Badger is in second ahead of Pavlison. There's Clen, who's keeping Cucumber at bay at the moment. Youngie trying to keep these soft runners behind him, like Corius and Jordan at the moment, but Youngie's not in a bad position. P6 currently on the hard tyres. Those hard tyres will come alive later on in the stint, and like Corius there looking to the inside of Youngie, but just too far away as they went to the end of that little straight. But interesting start. Not a great start for Youngie, but for Brad, he's done what he needed to do at the moment. He's still got Honey Badger within a second of him. Pavlison's dripped off of those two by about a second at the moment, as we see the Cucumber there moving up into fourth place, and also Lycorius has got ahead of Youngie, although Youngie's still there, so he's trying to get back at him here as they come down towards the final corner. And Lycorius here has got Youngie on the inside. Youngie will get DRS now down the main straight and might be able to come back at him, because Lycorius hasn't got DRS on the cars in front, so Youngie is going to try and make a move here. This might fire him up a little bit as he gets down the inside there, up into P6, and gets that one done. But Brad out the front has the lead. Honey Badger's keeping him very much on his toes at the moment. Pavlison is right there, having a much better Grand Prix than he did in the sprint race, as Jordan is trying to get something done here with Youngie. Jordan's moved ahead of Lycorius up into 7th place, so Jordan Hillier having a very good opening couple of laps to the race. Obviously him and Lycorius are both on the soft tyres, so they both got to really push on in his opening couple of laps, because those tyres are not going to last very long at all. But Jordan at the moment on the back of the pole sitter here, who's had an absolutely horrendous start to this race, but on the hard tyres I don't think he could have expected anything different. So clearly a strategic decision there from Youngie, and time will tell us if it's going to pay off in any way. But at the moment he is struggling, and he is really struggling at the moment. Jordan has got the DRS here down the long straight, a little bit too far away as they come down towards the hairpin. He's having a look to the inside as Jordan, but he's realistically too far back to make anything happen there. As we go back to the leaders here, Brad, Honey Badger, Pavlison and Cucumber, the top four. They're all within DRS of each other at the moment. Clen's dropped off of them in P5 with Youngie behind him. As we can see, we've got Honey Badger there making the move to the inside of Brad, but it was a bit of lag there going on between those two. And actually, Honey Badger's still behind him, so that was lag there that made it look like he was ahead as they went into turn one. It wasn't the case. So Brad's internet connection is really playing havoc here, and I wonder if these drivers are seeing what I'm seeing. I imagine they probably are, as we see Cucumber here looking to now to the inside of Pavlison into the hairpin. But with Brad lagging around like this, I think the guys who are behind him have really got to try the undercut here, because going for a move like this is going to be risky, because you don't know where that Mercedes is. I mean, that is a real hazard for online racing. And really, I don't know what the solution is, but that car is absolutely all over the gaff. As we see Pavlison there looking to the inside of Honey Badger there, going towards the end of the little straight. I'll be very surprised if Brad makes it to the end with his connection. I'll be very surprised indeed. His gap is just over a second right now over Honey Badger. As we can see here, Pavlison and Cucumber pretty close. Cucumber's getting close to the back of this battle. Pavlison there down the inside of Honey Badger into the hairpin and gets that move done up into second place. Now Cucumber's going to try and attack on both of them. Oh, as we see Pavlison there having a massive wiggle as he came out of the hairpin, but Honey Badger's just a little bit too far away at the moment to capitalise on that, as he's a bit wide as well. That could invite Cucumber in, and in fact it has. Cucumber's now moved ahead of Honey Badger, and is now going to get ahead of both of them here into turn one, and Honey Badger's back on the inside here of Cucumber as well. He's not giving up in this fight. Cucumber should be able to see this one out though as they come through this next couple of corners here, because Cucumber's going to have the inside through this long left-hander, this double apex left-hander, and it looks like Cucumber has got that one done up into second place. We see Ernie's moved ahead of Richie up into 11th place as well. But But Brad out the front with a second and a half over this fight here for second place. Brad has checked out away from these guys, which is probably for the best, to be honest, when you look at that internet, because if he had anyone on the back of him, it would be causing a serious hazard to everyone, including himself, as Youngie has lost out there to Angry Guns, who's got around the outside there up into 9th place, and now Ernie's looking to try and get Youngie as well here. And Youngie's going to lose another position, but now not even to one of the faster tyre runners. He's lost now out to one of the hard tyre runners, Ernie. He's also behind Onzi as well. So what is going on with Youngie in this race? Sniper C's now crashed out, and I think, no, it's not a safety car. That's Sniper C's car in the pit lane there. That's a green dot, not a yellow dot. So, oh my goodness me, my phone just dropped on the floor. But Onzi here looking to the inside of Jordan as they come down the long straight. We can see Lycorius there also getting ahead of Jordan up into 7th place. Angry Guns there on the inside of Ernie as they went through the corner as well, up into 9th place. So fascinating first few laps here at Shanghai. Currently Honey Badger really putting the pressure on Cucumber for second place at the moment. Lycorius is trying to keep Jordan at bay as well in the fight for P7. Jordan here looking very, very handy on the back of him as he's going to try and go around the outside now of Lycorius through this first section of the track. But Lycorius there holding his ground, gets a decent enough exit. Jordan's looking to get the run here down towards the hairpin, but Lycorius with lovely acceleration there just absolutely took him away, didn't he, from the Ferrari. And Lycorius there has definitely got that gearing nicely set up, and manages to stay ahead of that Scarlet Red automobile for the time being. But Brad is out the front with a healthy lead over Cucumber and Badger. There's Pavlison in the background ahead of Glenn. Oh, as we can see, Youngie there looking to the inside now of Angry Guns, trying to come back at the driver here is Youngie after a disastrous opening few laps of the race. I mean, it's hard to remember that he actually started this one from pole. In the meantime, Ernie is looking to try and make a move here on Jordan down the long straight, and he's on the inside. He's well alongside here is Ernie going into the hairpin, and he's going to have that one done there on the brakes is Ernie. As in the background there we've got Youngie still attacking Angry Guns as they come out of the hairpin, but Angry Guns has managed to pull away considerably out of that corner. As we now see, we've got Jordan into the pits here, as well as Lycorius. So two drivers coming in to get their soft tyres off. No surprise there. Angry Guns, the other soft tyre starter, still out there. And the gap at the front between Brad and Cucumber is coming down a little bit, which could be a risky situation here for Cucumber. I mean, you don't want to get too close to that Mercedes because you don't know where it is. So here comes Youngie on the back of Angry Guns as they come down the long back straight. I think he's surely going to have a good chance to make this move as he's now breezing past him into the braking zone. Youngie there up into 8th place. As also we've got Jay-Z with Richie very close behind these guys right now. Angry Guns is looking to try and come back at Youngie, but he's too far away, and in fact he's coming into the pits here at the end of lap 7. So that is now all the soft runners coming into the pits, or having come into the pits. In the meantime, Cucumber's really closed the gap to Brad. It's now just half a second here between these two. So the guys who bowed it out in the sprint race for the win look to be the ones dueling it out here in the Grand Prix, as we see a lot of lag going on here goodness knows what's going on. It might be my end, but to be fair, earlier on, Brad's lag was far worse than everybody else's. Now, it seems like they're all doing the same thing. So, I think maybe my connection might not be the best at this point. Or maybe it's just the lobby as a whole. But it was just Brad a while ago, now it seems to be everyone. In the meantime, we see Clen here, very close on the back of Pavlison as they come down the long back straight. He's going to be getting closer and closer and closer towards the hairpin we go, as Pavlison forced to defend a little bit here to the inside. Onzi right there with them, as well as Ernie. And these four guys running nose to tail at the moment as they come through the final corner. And Clen there didn't get the exit out of the final corner that he would have wanted at all. Onzi's now going to be poised to try and do something, but Clen with better straight line speed taking him away and closer to the back of Pavlison. It's Ernie watching and waiting as he sees this all unfold in front of him. There was a bit of contact there between Clen and Onzi. Onzi just tapped him in the back a little bit as they came through turn one. And they all just seem to be a little bit too far away from each other to make a move at this moment. Oh, Clen's gone wide. No, he hasn't. That was lag. So yeah, this is a difficult watch, I have to say, with all the lag. And Onzi here looking to try to go around the outside of Clen. I think he's going to have this one done through the next sequence of corners here. He's managed to position himself beautifully there as Onzi through the first of the two left-handers, now through the second one. Clen though's keeping himself there around the outside with good traction there out of the corner, and Clen still holds on to fifth place there as these two having a great little fight here for fifth place. It's allowing Pavlison to just eke off into the distance there in fourth place. See Onzi there looking to the inside of Clen. Clen was also trying to distract Pavlison a little bit in the mirrors, but couldn't do so. Cucumber into the pits as well as Brad. So the two guys who were 1 and 2 in the sprint race. Oh, as Cucumber almost hits him in the rear there. Yeah, the guys that were 1 and 2 in the sprint race coming in at the same time here. This could give Honey Badger a chance to... it's not often you get an overcut in F1, but if those two are going to be battling on their outlap, it could give Honey Badger a golden opportunity here to try and get an overcut, as Brad and Cucumber are going to come out together, which could mean this might be a huge chance for Honey Badger here. If these two trip over each other or distract each other on this outlap whilst they're trying to warm their tyres up, this could be massive here for Honey Badger in the McLaren on his debut here tonight in the Red Arrows F1 League. As we see Pavlison is dropping down the order. Oh, Pavlison's gone wide there onto the gravel. It's quite hard to find the gravel at that part of the track, but he's managed to do so. And Pavlison here is going to be passed here by Brad and Cucumber in a second, is he? I don't know. Yep, Brad's up the inside, Cucumber follows him through. So Pavlison there has lost an absolute heap of time, has lost a couple more positions as well whilst we're watching him, as he's got big damage there. You can see the front left tyre has gone. He's got a front left puncture, and he's going to be limping that car around to the pits. That is absolutely rattling away. And that's, well, I mean, to be fair, it's 10 laps on the medium tyres. Oh, as he's raged into the wall there. He tried to rage quit, it didn't work. But, yeah, medium tyres have gone. There's no other explanation. How's Clen doing? Clen seems to be alright at the moment, but he's going to be coming in now. So yeah, 10 laps was the max the mediums could go. 9 laps were the comfort range. 10 was the risky range. But nonetheless, in comes Clen. China's a bit of an infamous one actually on the F125 game for tyres going pop. I remember Clen actually had an incident of his own in the Purple Sector F1 League tonight. He wasn't the unlucky one, but nonetheless he puts the hards on. And it's going to be interesting to now to see if the hards will go 18 laps, because the mediums did 10, but rather stretched. So yeah, it's going to be a tricky one. Certainly going to be a tricky one. But anyway, we've got Ernie leading ahead of Onzi, and then Youngie, he's currently 3 seconds behind these guys. Have these guys who started on the hards, are they onto an absolute blinder here? Could be perhaps that they knew something that I guess I didn't. I don't know if the others knew and decided not to, but certainly they seem to have uncovered a potential unknown gem. But nonetheless, the leaders here coming down the long back straight. Ernie still with the advantage here over Onzi, not by much though, as Onzi looking to the inside there into the hairpin, too far away there, as Cucumber in the meantime has picked off Jay-Z up into P6, and looks like Brad's also done the same. Honey Badger came out 5 seconds behind Cucumber and Brad, so wasn't able to get any sort of overcut. Ernie into the pits here at the end of lap 11. So Honey Badger came in the lap after. He's got 1 lap fresher tyres, but he is on the back of a train here by the looks of it. He's behind. Oh no, in fact no, he's actually ahead of Lycorius and Jordan. So Honey Badger has got himself into clean air, but he's currently 5-6 seconds behind Cucumber and Brad. So that's going to be the fight for the win come the end. Most likely anyway. Although we don't know how badly these hard tyres are going to be hanging on towards the end. So Cucumber and Brad could be vulnerable in the final couple of laps of the race. We don't quite know what to expect at the moment, because we haven't seen, well, the hard tyres haven't been tested yet. Obviously there's guys who started on the hard tyres who are still going. Onzi, Richie, McCarty, Youngie and Jay-Z. As Youngie, oh, McCarty's lost it. He's dropped it there, coming out onto the little straight. I don't think that was tyre related. I'm pretty sure he was having a battle with Youngie. There must have been some sort of contact. So McCarty there losing out to well, Honey Badger, Lycorius and Jordan. But McCarty there looked like he'd just, I think, overstepped with in that battle there with Youngie. Is Cucumber there picking off Youngie up into 3rd place on his fresh tyres, with the former still yet to pit. So Onzi, Richie, Youngie and Jay-Z all continuing to stay out there for the time being. And I reckon if these guys can get the hard tyres to lap 18, then we're looking at a 1 stop. Although the thing is, I mean, it's a hard one to know for sure. It's a really, really tricky one to know, because I mean, Pavlison, his tyres went after 9.5 laps, although that's on higher fuel, so you would kind of give him a sort of a lap's grace on that. So they should comfortably do 9 laps, possibly 10 with a lighter fuel load, but it's a risk that I'm sure a lot of these drivers aren't going to be willing to take, as Honey Badger moves ahead of Jay-Z up into 6th place. And in the background there you can see Lycorius and Jordan still running pretty close here in 8th and 9th. But Cucumber here still attacking on Richie as they come to the end of the little straight, and he'll now get a golden opportunity to move himself into clean air here. He's got Brad all over him as well, so Brad is not getting detached from his rival for this race win despite being in traffic. He's making sure that he follows that Ferrari's every move for the time being, as Brad's now going to look to try and make the move here on Richie into the hairpin. And we see a lock up there from Cucumber in the foreground, but Brad makes his way through and remaining on the back of his rival for this race victory here tonight. These two have been battling it out since the sprint race. Cucumber got the better of Brad in the sprint, but so far they've been nip and tuck here, blow for blow in the Grand Prix. So now they're 4 seconds behind the race leader Onzi, who's still yet to pit. Onzi, the highest runner of those who started on the hards. We know for certain that a lot of drivers are going to be one stopping, like the hard tyre starters. Well, we strongly suspect that the guys like Onzi, Richie, Youngie, Jay-Z are going to be one stopping, McCarthy most likely as well. But what about the guys who put the hards on early in the race? It's going to be pretty tight for them. I would have thought most of them, like Angry Guns, Lycorius, even Cucumber and Brad, might have to come in for a second stop here. Jordan definitely has to stop again. He's been on the mediums for 7 laps. Ernie will 100% have to stop again. There's a lot of drivers out there who will probably have to stop again here. We don't have Honey Badger and Clen. Those two might have to stop again, but they put their tyres on lap at the end of lap 11, so could be a close call for those guys. I think Honey Badger, did he start on the I think he started on the mediums. I'm pretty sure he did. Ernie's now ahead of McCarthy up into 12th. Look at how quickly Cucumber and Brad have closed in on Onzi. Onzi is still yet to make his pit stop, and these two, the net 1 and 2, have reeled him in at a leisurely pace. Well, I say at a leisurely pace, they've reeled him in far too easily. That's what I'm trying to get at. Lycorius and Clen and Jordan are on the back of Jay-Z right now. 4-car train here battling over P7. Clen on 4-lap pressure tyres, then Lycorius. I wonder whether there's going to be any orchestration there between those two perhaps. There's Lycorius all over the back of Jay-Z right now, looking for an opening. Trying to find a space he possibly can to exploit and move ahead. We see Cucumber's now got ahead of Onzi, and actually Cucumber's managed to drop Brad a little bit here in the last sort of lap or so. So might now, especially because he's now got DRS down the long straight, so that's now going to allow him to pull even further away here from Brad. Brad has now lost the DRS on his rival for this race win. Cucumber now well clear, so Brad could be in trouble here. In this fight for the win. Onzi is coming into the pits now at the end of lap 15, so Onzi, I would have thought, surely going to have to 2-stop, because we saw the mediums earlier punctured after 9.5 laps. So we see Onzi, Richie and Youngie all coming in. I would assume they'll be doing 2 medium stints. But yeah, wow. I mean, that's well, that probably means that Cucumber and Brad are going to be coming in again for the medium tyres before the end of the race. Well, you would think. Probably about lap 21 would make the most sense. If you're Honey Badger, do you risk it and stay out? You're on 1 lap fresher tyres. Do you stay out and try and weather the storm? Could be an interesting one. See, like always, a big lock up there as he went into the hairpin on the back of Glenn at the moment. Trying to bring himself into that fight if he can. You got Jay-Z here who's keeping Ernie at bay in this fight for 7th place as well. As we see, there is a bit of lag going on there between these two here as well. So a lot of the drivers lagging tonight. It seems like the lobby has got some problems. It's not unwatchable, but it does appear to be a bit of an issue. But Jay-Z nonetheless still keeping Ernie at bay as they come out onto the long back straight, and Ernie is going to have DRS here and it's going to make the move pretty easily here, as we're not even halfway down the straight and he's got it done before we even got to the DRS zone. Angry Guns following him through there as well. Up into 8th place he goes. So that's Jay-Z down 2 places there, down the long back straight. Gap at the front between Cucumber and Brad is extending. It's over 3 seconds now between those two, as we see Jordan into the pits, so's Angry Guns. So that'll be their second and final pit stops for both of those two. So there's Angry Guns into the box. Jordan's off and away. So hard tyres for Jordan for this final stint. 11 laps to go. Angry Guns has gone for the mediums, which is quite a risky one, I have to say, being on the medium tyres for an 11 lap run to the flag, because we know that the mediums struggled to do 10 laps earlier on, although that was on much heavier fuel loads, as I've said before. But even so, that could be quite tricky. There's Onzi here, all over the back of Jay-Z as they're coming through this middle part of the lap, down the little straight. And is Onzi going to have a good chance here? He'll definitely wait for the mains for the back straight, because if you overtake here, you're going to be vulnerable down that back straight because you're giving the DRS away. So here we come then, and Onzi's going to make the move. I don't know where the detection point is. I think it was at the previous corner, so I think he'll still get the DRS despite being ahead when they get to the line. Yep. He does get the DRS, so Onzi now is going to power away from the Haas. Jay-Z though, definitely one stopping here as we're at the end of lap 18, so I would imagine we'll put the medium tyres on now as Clen's coming in to make his second stop, and that'll be his final stop of the race. I would have thought putting the hard tyres on, Lycorius doing the same. Now is Jay-Z in? Yes he is, and Jay-Z's got a 3-second penalty for cutting the corner on the way into the pits. We see Clen, Lycorius and Jay-Z all in the pits. Clen's put the hards on. Lycorius, what's he gone for? Medium tyres. I think that was mandatory there for Lycorius, and Jay-Z there doing his only stop of the race, putting the mediums on. And we'll go to the end from here. So Cucumber and Brad, 1 and 2, 4 seconds apart. Cucumber showing his class here in the sort of second half of this race, has really started to extend the gap to Brad in the last few laps. The reigning champion here getting back into his groove here tonight after winning the sprint race, and it was very close in the sprint race. It was close for a lot of this Grand Prix, but in the last few laps Cucumber has seemed to just put the hammer down and step it up a notch, showing why he is the champion of the Red Arrows Formula 1 League. There's Brad locking up into the hairpin. There's Honey Badger running in 3rd place. Only about 7 seconds off of the lead. He's done a good job here tonight. And Cucumber's now into the pits. And so is Brad. So this is now their final stops of the race. Now, interestingly, Honey Badger's going to be staying out for at least another lap here. Now, if you're Honey Badger, surely you roll the dice. Stay out. Try and go to the end. You're 7 seconds behind. You're going to come out about sort of between 12 and 15 seconds in the lead. Surely it's a no-brainer. You've just got to try and go to the end. I mean, his tyres will probably get to the end because he'll only have to do what, 17, 18 laps altogether. By the time we get to the end, surely he's going to just give it a go. Roll the dice, see what happens. It's got to be worth a try. As we see Cucumber's now come out in 2nd place, just ahead of Onzi, but Brad has come out on the wrong side of these guys. is currently 5 seconds behind Cucumber. And he's behind Onzi and Richie, so I don't know if Brad had to fix his front wing maybe or something, as he just lags there as he locks up into the hairpin. But yeah, Brad, I think, is out of the battle for the win here. But for Honey Badger, surely a second place at least is on the cards. Maybe a win if he stays out on the track. It's got to be all or nothing surely for Honey Badger here on his debut tonight in the Red Arrows F1 League. Not racing for a championship, it's his debut race, as I've said, so it's got to be worth a go surely. Obviously we've got 8 laps left to go. So are we going to see a rally here for Honey Badger? No, we're not. Honey Badger coming in. So medium tyres, I imagine, are going to come on the McLaren, and we're going to see a late charge here in the final part of this race. Let's see what goes on. Yeah, medium tyres. Now Brad had a horrendous pit stop, lost a load of time to Cucumber over the pit window, so maybe Honey Badger might come out ahead of Brad. No, he doesn't. He's behind Brad. So Brad there into turn 1. Honey Badger actually coming out here behind Youngie as well, so that's how strong the undercut is. It is absolutely colossal on this F1 25 game. So Honey Badger there in P6. I'm wondering why he didn't stay out and just try and go to the end. I was wondering the same thing yesterday watching the Brazil F1 when Verstappen came into the pits towards the end of the race. He was only on 7 lap older tyres than Norris, and Red Bull called him in. I thought it would have been made much more sense to just try and stay out. At that point he had nothing to lose, did he? I mean, he still doesn't, but he's got less of a chance and nothing to lose now. Honey Badger here on the back of the pole sitter for this Grand Prix here, Youngie, who did a phenomenal job in qualifying, but unfortunately that was where the phenomenal job curtailed. But he's in a decent position right now. He's on course to score some good points. He'll have Clen on the back of him in his closing laps though, who's going to have better tyres, certainly fresher tyres, as Honey Badger now making a move to the inside into the hairpin, and that's going to be job done there for Honey Badger up into 5th place. As we see Cucumber there doing the fastest lap out the front, 35.1 there from Cucumber, continuing to extend his gap to Onzi, who's in 2nd place, is currently 4 seconds. Onzi might try and do a one stop and go to the end, but it would be a very, very tall task for him. Onzi and Richie are both going to have Brad on the back of them in a moment. I would have thought Onzi and Richie will have to come into the pits at the end of this lap and do a 6-lap dash on a fresh set of mediums. Who knows, maybe even the softs, but the softs will be done after 3 laps surely. There's Ernie ready to get ahead of Angry Guns here as they're battling, and in fact we're watching the wrong driver there, but Ernie here now looking to the inside of Angry Guns into the hairpin. Is he going to have this one done? He goes late on the brakes there, almost taps the Ferrari of Jordan in front of him, as Angry Guns is looking to try and go for a cutback here, as we see them just stuttering around a bit on the screen, but Ernie does have that move done up into 10th place. Manages to hold on there beautifully there, does Ernie. Brad now looking to try and attack on Richie in the fight for 3rd place, and he's going to get that one done on the exit of the corner, and he'll get a bit of DRS as well for good measure. He's going to now blast off into the distance here. So interesting thing now, does Onzi come in? Is Richie going to come in? Are these guys going to go for one more pit stop, or are they going to chance it and try and go to the end of the race? Looks like Onzi's staying out and Richie's also staying out, so these guys are going to try and do a long stint at the end of this race. They're both going to try and do 13 laps on a set of medium tyres, which is not going to be easy. I mean, we saw tyres getting punctures after 10 laps, but do these guys know about that? Maybe they don't. I hope they've done their testing. I hope they know what they're doing, because I can't see those medium tyres going to the end of the race, but I'll be very impressed if they do. But Onzi currently on course for a podium right now, Although Honey Badger's got much fresher tyres than these guys, and is within 3 seconds of Onsey. He's within 1 second of Richie. So Honey Badger's going to be, I think, the big threat here to their podium places. Brad is almost a shoe-in for that P2. He's now almost within a second of Brad and is looking ever more a threat to the Alpine as they come down this little straight. He might have DRS down the long back straight, but if he doesn't, he'll certainly still be a threat to Onsey in a moment. So that was the detection point. I think he's outside of the detection point, but I'm not actually 100% sure where it is, if I'm perfectly honest. Is he within that DRS? I don't think he is. So Brad's going to have to wait until the main straight to get a bit of DRS here to try and put Onsey under more pressure. But I think it's a matter of time until Brad moves up into P2. He's on the fresher tyres. The hard tyres are going to be in a much better nick than those medium tyres on the Alpine of Onsey. Richie there still running in 4th place, has got Honey Badger hunting him down. Glenn there doing a good job there in 6th place. On course for some very strong points. Youngie as well in 7th place, but he'll feel like this one got away from him after his qualifying on pole. As we see Honey Badger there's moved ahead of Richie up into 4th place now. And he'll now be looking a little bit up ahead of him in the shape of Brad, who's running in the podium places in 3rd place. He's still attacking on Onsey at this moment in time. See the guys lagging around a little bit there. Onsey a little bit wide as he went through the hairpin. Brad will be watching that and will be noticing it very closely as we see him swooping around the outside there as Brad makes the move very easy there indeed up into 2nd place, and that was no hesitation at all there from Brad. He knew that Onsey on worn out tyres wasn't going to be able to get the sort of grip around that corner, and just had full commitment there around the outside. Up into 2nd place he goes. Onsey there still running in 3rd place ahead of Honey Badger, who's going to be coming for him in a second. I think Honey Badger is going to be getting himself on the podium. Who knows? Honey Badger might have the pace to chase after Brad in these final couple of laps on the medium tyres. They're going to be faster, although in the last couple of laps I reckon Brad's tyres will probably be slightly better. Usually the crossover in performance between the medium and the hards is about between 6 and 8 laps. And after about 6 or 8 laps, the hard tyre actually, if it's the same age as the medium, actually becomes the better tyre. Although Honey Badger's tyres are 1 lap younger, so you'd think maybe that crossover might come slightly later. So he might get the benefit of these tyres all the way to the end here over Brad. But nonetheless, he's going to look to the inside now with Honey Badger into turn 1 and moves up into 3rd place there without any dramas. And can now try and chase after Brad for P2 if he possibly can. Tell you what, Cucumber's done an absolutely phenomenal job here this evening. Took a tight win in the sprint race, but the Grand Prix has been nothing of the sort. He's just been in another league here in this 2nd stint. Well, 3rd stint actually we're in now. But the 2nd and 3rd stints he's been untouchable here as Cucumber, the reigning champion of the Red Arrows F1 League. I wonder if he's going to be tempted to return to the league after this, showing he's still got the pace and the potential to fight it out for race wins and probably championships if he wants to. See Honey Badger well within the DRS now of Brad on his medium tyres, and is definitely going to look to try and have a crack at the Mercedes in the final couple of laps here. 3 laps left, including the one we've just started. So it's now or never here for Honey Badger. Noticing here Clen's closed up onto the back of Richie quite quickly here, and Clen could be looking at a P4 here tonight because he's only got Onsey just 2 seconds down the road from him, so he needs to clear Richie ASAP and then he can try and chase after the Alpine. But Clen's got much fresher tyres than these guys. They're going to be in way better condition than Richie and Onzi. So he'll be wanting to clear him as quickly as he possibly can. In the meantime, Brad still keeping ahead of Honey Badger for the time being. Just about a second between the two of them at the moment. Honey Badger's going to get DRS down the long back straight, which will give him a chance to get that a little bit closer here. Clen's still keeping Richie on his toes, but the thing is, the more time that Clen spends behind Richie, the less he's going to have to attack on Onzi in the final few laps of the race. So this might have cost Clen a P4, but certainly fifth is going to be very much on the cards here. Honey Badger has just dropped out of a second here, although he's still got DRS on Brad, which will bring him that little bit closer, coming down towards the hairpin. Just a little bit too far back at the moment, but we're coming into the sort of the window where the hards become the better tyre over the mediums, as Clen has made the move up into fifth place there on Richie. He's got 2 laps now to overhaul 2.5 seconds on Onzi. If he can gain a second and a half a lap, he'll be on him through the final DRS zone, as Lycorius has moved ahead of Youngie up into 7th place. Lycorius has made up a place, but Youngie is absolutely dropping backwards here in the closing stages, similarly to what we saw in the opening few laps of the race. And he'll be ruining an opportunity missed here tonight. Strategy has cost him big time in this one. See, Honey Badger still well within striking distance here of our second place driver Brad, who's one of the championship contenders here this season, Brad. And so far tonight will have scored 2 second places, which would have closed the gap enormously to Super Striker, the championship leader, who's not here tonight. Gap was 42 points between Super Striker and Brad coming into tonight, so I reckon it'll be around 10 points, something like that, maybe a bit less, maybe a bit more, but around 10 points between them, if the maths in my head isn't misleading me. And that'll be good for Brad, because that will put the pressure on him a bit more. Obviously the 2 teammates and top 2 in the championship, Sniper C not capitalising at all on the absence of the championship leader here tonight. And it looks like it might be a 2-horse race in this title race with 6 rounds left after tonight. But Brad definitely back in the championship hunt after this one, that's for sure. And he's starting to pull away a little bit from Honey Badger, who's running in 3rd place now. So I think Brad, barring any major catastrophes on the final lap, should be good here for this P2. As we see Clen here still keeping, or sorry, still staying behind Onzi. He's really gained though the last lap on Onzi. He gained about 2 seconds just on that 1 lap alone. So Clen here could throw the kitchen sink at Onzi and try and take home a P4 here tonight in this Grand Prix. That would be a good recovery after the sprint race, where he dropped about 7 places in the final few corners after running in the podium places for much of it. He was P6 going into the hairpin, and then I think he must have run out of fuel because he ended up 13th by the finish line. So in 2 corners he dropped 7 places, but he goes a little bit wide there, or in fact that was a bit of lag actually, which is deceiving us once again here. That's been the story of tonight, unfortunately. So I'll have to get that sorted out for the next one. But Lycorius there moving ahead of Jordan up into 7th place. And Clen here still piling the pressure on the back of Onzi in this fight for 4th place. Is he going to get the move done here down the back straight? He's very, very close to the back of him here, as they now come onto the back straight. Cucumber's got a couple of corners left to go and is about to take the race win, but Clen has got the DRS here down the back straight. And is he surely going to make this move here on Onzi? He's going to look to the outside. In the meantime, Cucumber out of the final corner is going to take the Chinese Grand Prix here at the Red Arrows Formula 1 League. Clen has got this move done here on Onzi going into the hairpin, and it's going to take home 4th place. It's going to be Brad over the line to take 2nd place and close the gap in the championship up to Super Striker, with Honey Badger on his debut over in 3rd place. A great podium there for Honey Badger. Clen takes 4th ahead of Onzi, who's over in P5. Richie finishes in 6th place here in the end. Lycorius, Jordan and Ernie are having a 3-way battle here to the line, as Lycorius is just pipped by Jordan. Jordan's 7th with Lycorius 8th and Ernie over in 9th. Then Youngie completing the top 10. A disastrous Grand Prix for him after taking pole position. In fact, drops out of the top 10 with the penalties. Angry Guns 10th with Youngie 11th. Jay-Z in 12th. And McCarthy is coming in towards the final corner. It's going to be 13th place here for McCarthy and with the last driver to finish with Pavlicin and Sniper C both DNFing here from this Chinese Grand Prix here at the Red Arrows Formula 1 League. But that is that for tonight, everybody. Thanks to the drivers for watching this back. If you did enjoy, then I'm absolutely delighted that you did. So the story of tonight is Brad really gaining on Super Striker in the championship, and the gaps, it's got to be single figures or around 10 points. It's got to be under that, I think, but it's close anyway. Very close going into the final part of the season. But yeah, excellent stuff, guys. And if you're watching on the playlist, then the next round will be available if it's the end of the season. If you're watching in the week after this race, then obviously it won't be. But yeah, if it's at the end of the season, then click the next one and you can watch the next race.